get down into a low stance. So I like to still keep my knees bent, that way I'm still light on my feet, but you're not burning your quads out, you're not consuming oxygen. So you basically want to square your shoulders to the imaginary person to the left, or I guess to the right of of this mat here. What do we call these?
Kicker bags.
Okay.
Bags.
Bags. Okay. I would call it a PEL, but
Call it a PEL. It's
PEL
a
bag.
PEL
Whatever. So you want to have your lead leg with your toes pointing directly at your opponent. Your back leg and your back foot, you want it to be more or less a 45-degree angle. You don't want it to be a complete L shape, and you don't want it to be pointing at your opponent as well, because you become unstable for lateral movement. So with each blow, it starts from the feet, okay? If you throw an onside shot this way, I don't know the terminology, if it's the same or different or whatever. We
They
call
have no training, call it what you want to call it.
Okay, I call this onside because you're striking to your right side, your strong side. I call this an offside or a backhand like in tennis. So whenever you strike for the onside, you rotate your back heel out as you're throwing the shot, okay? That's where the power generation begins. And then as you rotate your right heel out, you twist your hips. Basically, all these joints, all the joints in your body, whether it's your foot, your hips, and your shoulders, you're all making circular motions, because that's how each movement compounds on the other to make the sword go faster and faster and have more power. So rotate the heel, make sure it comes up. Rotate the hips in the same direction, this way, and then your shoulders will naturally follow in that same twist. Then, as the motion travels up through your body, you extend your shoulder forward, like this, and then your arm extends from your shoulder. So, slowly, the movement looks like this, okay? And then at the very end, right before you make impact, you flick your wrist, okay? Flick your wrist forward. Now, the purpose of all these motions, all happening at once, is because they all compound on one another. So, if I do just my hip rotation, I'm not moving very fast, okay? I don't have a whole lot of power in that motion. Same thing with just my shoulders. If I just rotate my shoulders, it's not moving very fast, you know, and there's not a whole lot of power. But if I do all the motions correctly in conjunction with one another, they all add up and it becomes quite powerful and quite fast. And so whenever you switch to the backhand or the offside, one problem that I came across in the SCA is that a lot of people still want to rotate their body in a counterclockwise motion, but you're hitting on the opposite side. So that actually robs your power, because say like if you're standing on the face of a clock, if your hips and your shoulders are moving in a counterclockwise motion, your sword is moving clockwise. And so your body actually kind of counteracts itself and you rob a lot of power. I've seen that be a problem in the SCA. So whenever we go for the offside or the backhand, we basically want to do the same thing, but in reverse. We want to kick our left heel out, rotate the hips clockwise rather, and then the shoulders the same way. And all those motions will compound on each other the same way, and you throw the bow. And basically, you can change all the different angles, whether you're striking down onto the head, or striking straight across to the ear, or down to the shoulder, or down to like the body or something like that. But that's all different changes in the angle from your shoulder down. That doesn't really change any of the other body mechanics, whether you're throwing lower to the offside or lower to the onside. So, are there any questions so far?
Feel free to ask me if you got them.
Okay. And for the left-handed fighters, it's basically the same. It's just a mirror. You know, you just mirror what a right-handed fighter is doing. But that's basically it. And the hardest thing is to get all of those motions to work at the right time. Because if the rotation of your hips isn't timed correctly with your shoulder, then it could rob some of your speed and some of your power. And you know, same thing, you know, if with the rotation of your wrist, if you don't let the power flow through your body, it sometimes hits what I call a speed bump, and all of that power gets robbed up to that point, and you're left with kind of a sloppy shot. So let's just go and practice some onside strikes, and I'll go around the room